Welcome to another Impact Wrestling that was actually disappointing. I had to think about this a little bit because the match quality was not the issue. The storytelling wasn't very bad. It was okay. The problem is that the majority of the matches on this card should have been main events of their own. And that was disappointing. Let's open with the show with the original ECWs versus the Impactors. I'm just calling them like that. You got the North and Moose versus Tommy, RVD, and Sabu with Super Jin. I believe her name is Jin or Jeannie. I wish they'd show more of her. But the thing about this was this should have been the main event. Let's be honest. For this show, it should have been the main event. It should have been. Because they built it up last week, they should have made this the main event this week. Was the match bad? No. In fact, it was actually good. This is what I was talking about. For me personally, I want to see older veterans work with younger talent for a couple of reasons. One, the younger talent can hide the older talent's flaws. Like if they're a bit too slow, or they can't make the moves as crisp as they want to be, or they can't make the holds work the way they used to. The younger talent can easily hide that because they can easily be a lot more energetic. And if they're good talent, not only can they make their veterans look really good, they can put themselves over as well. So the North was very good, and so was Moose. So there was not much of a problem here. They easily covered for most of the type of flaws that RVD, Sabu, and the Tommy Dreamer had. And then you got Tommy Dreamer, you got Sabu, and you also have let me put it to you like this. When Sabu was in the ring, he obviously looked a bit slow compared to what he used to do. It's obvious. But because he's such a good wrestler, he still remembers and knows how to make the pace work, even with his high style. Now, I'm not saying he did 100% great because, let's be honest, Sabu's in his 50s. He's not young anymore. I think he's in his late 50s. I don't even know how old Sabu is. I haven't checked. But he's older than 50. I know he's older than Tommy, and he's got to be older than RVD, who's about 50 right now. So, he can't move as fast as he wants in the ring, but he knows the psychology of working in the ring. So, there was no problem. Tommy did well. He did the same thing like he did at not ECW, All Elite Wrestling's Double or Nothing. He was in that Battle Royal. He knows how to make it look good in a Battle Royal. I know a lot of people could, but because he has such experience, he knows how to make the younger talent look good for the first time being seen. And RVD is RVD. So in the end, excuse me, you got the faces who win. And I'm alright with that, except this should have been a main event. And that was the major issue for me. And you guys tell me below if this should have been the main event, because it should have. Now, the Dinos versus Dempsey Hit Squad. I'm alright with where it was in the show. It was somewhere in the middle. And it was okay. Seeing the Dinos go up against the Dempsey Hit Squad was okay. There was no major problem with it. I just wish there were more matches like that. Now, you had the match of Killer Kross and Eddie Edwards, and I didn't really care about this match whatsoever. I'm sorry. I'm not against Killer Kross. I'm not against Eddie Edwards. What did this actually prove? Like I said, this was filler for both of them. And when you see Killer Kross basically get his ass handed to him by Sandman, because I'm not saying the match quality was bad. It wasn't. Killer Kross did a good street fight. And tell me 100% below. Tell me below. Normally they would announce this to be a street fight. Why would you say no DQ match for a street fight? Yes, we already know it's a no DQ match, but it's supposed to be announced as a street fight. What went wrong with the announcer? The ring announcer? Or better yet, did the ring announcer even know it was a street fight? Did they change it and Josh and Don Callis didn't realize it and they called it a street fight when it was a no DQ match? Something was lost and there was a miscommunication between the guys who were watching the recording and then speaking, or the ring announcer who messed up. I don't know. You got Eddie Edwards winning here, and then gets a new kendo stick from Sandman. I just felt like that was a waste of time for Eddie. Honestly, I'm sorry. I noticed some people liked him as a hardcore wrestler, and he tried. And I think to a certain extent he did an alright job, but right now I think he reached the end of his run with hardcore wrestling. He needs to switch it up. He needs to do something entirely different. Go for a new gimmick. I'm not saying to go back to the way he originally was. He can still keep a couple of elements of hardcore wrestling, but I think he needs to change up his style in some way. He needs to have a new type of character or story or something. He needs something. Now, you have Moose saying clearly that he tried to do this with Killer Cross and it didn't work because he's unstable. Then he tried to clean cut the North, I take that back, and it didn't work. You know what? From now on, I'm gonna be by myself. Really? Do you guys see what I was saying? That it should have been Killer Cross and Moose go up against LAX. They should have went up against LAX. Two really big guys who got really good characters, who are charismatic on their own, but together they're pretty damn charismatic. Going up against LAX, and now nothing. Now, of course, we still don't know anything about Killer Cross, because we don't know if he's re-signed or not. You guys can tell me below if he's re-signed or not. I don't know. That could be one of the reasons why they're not paired anymore, or at all. But honestly, if they were still together, if Killer Cross was staying in the company, they should have put him up against LAX and destroyed LAX and forced them to have to work back. Because as it stands, the Rascals going up against... They're in my face. The Rascals come out when LAX realized, hey, where's all this smoke coming from? I thought, well, Scarlett Bordeaux and the Smoke Show. Nope. It's the Rascals. And now they're saying they're going to go out against... I'm botching. I'm botching because didn't we already have something like this already? Where LAX went up against at least one or two members of the Rascals and got their ass handed to them. I don't even remember. But in the end, you got the Rascals. The Rascals, for goodness sake, going against LAX, a 4-time tag team champions. And what does that give them? Nothing. I thought maybe if the North was built up enough, they could take the straps from them and give them something new to do. Because if they have Moose by their side, at least then LAX will have to fight an uphill battle. But no, the North jobbed. And now you got basically the X Division going to job for LAX. And if they do win, really? You're going to have LAX job to the Rascals, who have barely any building, any real good characters, any development at all. I know I just said building and development. It's basically the same thing, but you get my point. Now, you have another match that should have been on its own show. And yes, it was incredibly short, but it could have been extended and it would have been good. And this is Glen Gilbert. I'm finally getting the guy's name. Disco Inferno himself going against Tessa Blanchard. And I believe that was the second or third match of the night. I was like, really? You already did the ECW stuff early instead of being the last match of the night. And now you're doing this one here. When you should save this for something, maybe a Slammiversary. Maybe when you do your next pay-per-view, do it there. No. You're doing it here. And basically, you have Glen Gilbert job his ass off really fast. And basically get destroyed by Tessa Blanchard. Which I'm fine with in a sense. But not at the same time. Because I wanted this to be something special for Tessa. I wanted her to have to struggle a little bit against Glen Gilbert. Kind of like what happened with that other woman. And then Scarlett Bordeaux. That she did get a little surprised by Glen. And then she shows her dominance over him after she gets a little roughed up. To show that she can build herself. That she can be tough and struggle and come back and nail an ass. And I'm talking about Glen Gilbert. And that's upsetting. That's a waste of a good storyline right there. You could have built that up a little more than just having one segment last week with a new female jobber who jobbed to Glen Gilbert. I just felt like that was a big waste of time. Now, the stream. Stream time. I think that's what they call it. From now on, the segment with Twitch stream is going to be stream time. We had the stream and we had a Brian Cage update outside the stream. Now, Brian said that he's still not cleared for Impact Wrestling, but he is going to be at Slammiversary, whether he's cleared or not, to go up against this. What pisses me off about this with Michael Elgin and him at Slammiversary is what happened with Melissa Santos. And I'm not angry at her, but I don't think she talked to the higher ups when this was done. I think they need to talk to her before time and tell her to be careful what you say. Okay? Because yes, this is real. You're showing your life. Yes, you're married to Brian. You have a kid with Brian. But you have to be careful what you say because you can spoil things. So when it came to her explaining what happened with Brian, she said that Brian, her husband, is doing much better. And this is before the segment that he did on Impact when the video packages went on. That he's alright and he's in Germany and he's wrestling, but he will be there soon. And then they do the segment after that. That's her letting the video continue after she pauses it on Twitch. And then Brian pretty much says that I'm still not cleared by Impact Wrestling, but I promise you I'm going to be at Slammiversary, whether I'm cleared or not, I'm going to wrestle. And then she tries to cover for it afterwards, saying that yes, he is wrestling somewhere else. It's like a tuna match, guys, but he's going to be there. Oh my gosh. Melissa, honey, I'm saying this to you. If someone shows us this, I'm going to say one. I know if you saw my videos about you, I've never hated you. I think you're a wonderfully sweet person. But please, from now on, talk with Don beforehand and write some notes down. There's no shame. I got notes. Here, honey, I got notes. When I'm watching the show, when I'm watching you, I write notes to make sure I can remember what I'm doing. Because I don't want to mess this up and not care about the people who are watching me. Because when it came down to it, honey, you shouldn't have said, and I'm saying she's ever going to watch this. I'm just saying it to you guys. If she was watching this, I would tell her, please talk to Don ahead of time if you can, to find out at least certain things about Brian beforehand, any video packages he did that you don't know about that's going to be aired on the next Impact that you're going to be doing the stream with, so you don't let something loose so early and then you have to try and cover that you messed up. Please, from now on, do that. Please. Talk with Don. Talk with Scott. I don't care. Just someone. Anybody. Now, final match of the night. Oh, wait. Almost forgot. What's going on with Rosemary, what's going on with Sooyoung, and what's going on with Father Mitchell's segment with her was very good. But I don't know where it's going. Without Allie, because she's in AEW, I don't know where they're going to go with this with Sooyoung and Rosemary. Unless they're going to turn Sooyoung face. That would be the best option. That Rosemary turns Sooyoung face and tries something entirely different with her. Because I don't see Rosemary getting the paint taken off her face. To be honest, I don't see Sooyoung getting the paint taken off her face. But in the end, you need to do something. Something's got to be done differently because I'm confused. If she's going to the undead realm with Sooyoung, and that's Rosemary, what does this lead to? It's got to lead to something. It can't be a dead end. And finally, Rich Swann and Willie Mack versus Johnny Evil and Michael Elgin, which I didn't really care about the match, but it was at the end of the show, which it needed to be. Like what was going on with the first match, with the ECW Originals versus the Northern Moose, and compared to Glen Gilbert and Tessa Blanchard, where those two should have been in their own separate shows. This made sense to put it at the end of this Impact. Was it a good match? It was a good match by the end. But I don't know where this leads, because yes, we still got a while to go before Slammiversary happens. And at the end of this match, once Johnny bumps into Michael, Michael feels like he's basically been nailed, and he walks off, and Johnny basically gets pinned. Where does this go? Does this mean that Michael is going to have a feud with Johnny? Johnny's going to have a feud with Michael? Isn't Johnny supposed to be going after the title? Does this mean they're going to be doing something until you get to the pay-per-view they need to go to? I don't know. This show was not 100% bad, but it was disappointing because 2 out of the 3 major matches here should have been on their own shows. There's still a lot of things up in the air. And then you got a match between Eddie Edwards and Killer Kross that meant nothing. You just did it a full circle, which did not benefit Eddie Edwards. Yes, you could say because it's kind of something that is made by ECW, because Tommy gave that kendo stick to Eddie Edwards. It got destroyed. Then it got given another one by another ECW original in a Sandman. It really didn't feel that much. Because really, Eddie should be doing something different. And Killer Kross should be doing something different. I'm not blaming them. But it just feels like that was not what they were supposed to do. But it's just my point of view. Have a good day. Have a good night. Peace!